All right, y'all. So Shedeur Sanders has went up the depth chart by default with them moving on from Joe Flacco. We're gonna check out Speakeasy's comments on it, and then we're gonna check out the arena. So I might not listen to the whole thing. I'm just listen. I'm gonna look for key points and key opinions and give my thoughts.
Of the Bengals, but the real story here is Emmanuel Acho. We
What's
talked
up,
about
baby?
him not being able to play this season,
What's up,
but
baby?
Shedeur Sanders is now QB2 for the Cleveland Browns, and a path to getting on the field looks possible for the first time. He was interviewed at a car dealership.
What'd
They
he
found
say?
him. I mean, they tracked his ass down. I'm telling you right now. Let's go ahead and take a
That's
listen.
crazy. What the heck, bro? That's crazy.
Let's see if we can get audio going real quick. There you go.
Oh, Joe Flacco getting traded. He was definitely somebody I leaned on for wisdom, and I feel like he helped me a lot. He helped me a lot while my time being here in Cleveland and his time being here in Cleveland. So now, everybody has their own destinies and have their own plans they have in life. So I'm just happy for him.
Have you talked to him yet?
Yeah, I seen him in the facility. I seen him.
Before or after the news?
After, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he told me, I'm like, dang, that happened quick. Like, that was crazy.
Can we clap this up?
Interesting.
Hey, can we clap this up?
Are we
back there,
clapping?
please?
Are we clapping?
Can we clap this up?
Okay.
Let's clap this up. Here's why. Here's why. Shedeur is the number 2. I feel good about this. I did not like Joe Flacco being the number 2 behind Dylan Gabriel as the number 1. It was stupid. It was dumb to me. It was absolutely dumb. It made no sense. Shedeur being
Cody Kessler made the best argument for why it was good to have Flacco as the number 2 in case of an emergency situation where Gabriel gets hurt. It makes sense, but if Gabriel gets hurt, you let Flacco jump in, finish the game, and the following week you start Shedeur. So reasonable, but outside of that, I understand everybody's takes.
the number 2 means there is
Opinions.
a viable path to starting. Now, it might take an injury to Dylan Gabriel. We wish that upon no man. But at least there is a viable path to starting when Shedeur Sanders is the number 2. Now, Gabriel has more pressure on him, I would suggest, than any quarterback in football, which is the wildest thing to say.
He got a lot of
for rookie
pressure right
making his
now.
second start. Because Shedeur Sanders, one of the most popular quarterbacks in all of the NFL, is hovering behind you. And the world's favorite player is a backup quarterback because you don't know how good nor how bad he is. Now, Gabriel went in last week against the Vikings and looked like a competent starter. Only quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, this season, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions against the Brian Flores defense. So he looked like a very competent starter. But the reason I am excited is because Shedeur Sanders is closer to starting. I believe a lot of bad decisions were made, a lot of unintelligent decisions were made as far as not going to the Ravens. If Shedeur was on the Ravens right now, he'd be starting. They're looking to replace Cooper Rush already. So
Boy, that O-line for the Ravens looking bad right now. I'm not gonna lie. I would not want to be there. Not gonna lie. It sound good, bro, but again, you're in a solidified backup role if you're on the Ravens. If you're on the Browns, it's not a solidified backup role. You have a higher chance to be the franchise quarterback for that franchise specifically.
if Shedeur was on the Ravens, he'd be starting. Okay, you didn't make that decision. Don't live your life with regret. At least now he's the legitimate number 2 T. I'm excited just that he's a number 2. No more, no less. I'm excited that he's a number 2. Why are you looking at me like that?
I get where you're coming from. I'm excited he's a number 2 as well. I was going to ask you guys, are you guys proud of how the Browns handled this situation?
Listen, you said earlier.
I wouldn't say proud, but I'm glad that they're figuring this out early rather than later. I think it's positive thing that they're not waiting until the trade deadline to start figuring the situation out. They're getting it done a few weeks earlier, But we got 3 more weeks to the trade deadline. About a month.
The Browns were dumb for making Flacco the number 2.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns were dumb for starting Flacco to start the season.
Thank you.
They're dumb for that. Like, you start.
I agree with that off the strength that you got 2 rookie quarterbacks. It's not like you have to sit and let one develop. You can easily see which one is ready to go right now. Go ahead, start one. You got 2 of them. You don't need a, you know what I mean? They trying to save face and make it look good, to make it look like they made a good decision because they paid Flacco, but you got 2, One don't work, the other will.
Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders at the outset of the season, you know Flacco is not your quarterback of the future. You're trying to find your quarterback of the future. Shedeur's going to start 5 or 6 games, I'm sure of that this year.
Wow.
And for me,
if Shedeur starts any games, he's the starter. Or Dylan was playing phenomenal and got injured. But if Shedeur starts any games, I don't see why he wouldn't be the starter moving forward, like situationally.
him sitting these games now should be a learning experience. Okay, what did Joe did that I like, didn't like? And the same thing with Dylan Gabriel is, can he learn from those guys and those experiences that they're going through be your experiences? I just feel like Cleveland, they don't have a plan, did not have a plan. And when you're this bad, the Cleveland Browns, if they had a franchise quarterback, would be in the playoff picture, compete for a championship every year with that defense. Every single year. And so for them to start Flacco, that was the dumbest thing. That was dumb number one to start the season, at least for me.
Can I get time?
Yeah, you can talk. You want half or a full?
Let me just get half. Let me get
okay,
half.
We'll give you half.
30 seconds?
Hey, yeah,
Quick 30.
Come on.
I vehemently disagree with the Browns starting Flacco being dumb for this reason. Andy Reid told us on a previous show, like, yo, I never want to start my rookie quarterbacks game one because that takes the toll on their mental growth. What I mean by
I can anticipate where he's going with this, which is fair, because if Flacco does work out, then it works out, and if it doesn't, then it doesn't, which is what they did find out. But it would have been, I think it would have made sense to make this decision a bit sooner. But it is what it is.
that is this. Cam Ward started 0-4. You're not going to get those 4 games back. So for 4.
I'm going to be real, though, but the thing is, though, Cam Ward start 0-4. You get to see the problems from day one. You know what I mean? You don't have to mask it. You don't have to wonder what is the issue. You get to see what the issues are from day one. Versus we got to wait to see what some of these issues are going to be.
4 straight weeks, Cam Ward has thought to himself he's a loser. When you think about the MVPs of the last 6 or 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Allen didn't start week 1. Lamar Jackson didn't start week 1. Lamar Jackson won another MVP, didn't start week 1. Tom Brady won an MVP within the last 5-6 years. Aaron Rodgers has won an MVP within the last 5-6 years. Pat Mahomes. None of them started week 1.
Yeah.
So if you just look at the track record of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, none of them have started week 1. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, start week 1 and not be all that great. But none of the MVP quarterbacks have started week 1. And Andy Reid came on a previous show, looked me in my eyes and said, Acho, I do not like starting rookie quarterbacks week 1. Even if you think they might be ready, just sit them. Let them learn a little bit. I know Deion Sanders said, I ain't never learned nothing from sitting behind a rookie. He maybe have said it in jest a little bit. But T, let me vehemently disagree with you. Please, please, please respond. But let me disagree with that notion of let's roll Dylan Gabriel out there week 1 so he can do what? Start 0-4?
So the reason I say that, when you say Dylan Gabriel, you know how many games he started in college?
All of them.
From Central Florida to Oklahoma to Oregon.
Most starts ever of a college quarterback, I believe.
And Shedeur Sanders got to be right behind him. He got to be right behind him. And now, Shedeur didn't play at the level consistently at Jackson State for 2 years and in Colorado that Dylan Gabriel. He started so many college games. If you're not ready now, when you going to be ready?
But college and pros
It's
different,
completely different, but it's a comfort level being under center if you're Dylan Gabriel.
Okay.
It's a comfort level. And you saw just this past, you're going against Brian Flores and the Minnesota Vikings.
He looked good.
He looked really good.
Looked good.
Yep.
And that defense is one of the top 5 to 7 defenses in the league.
But peep this. How do we know that had Dylan Gabriel started week 1 and not sat behind Joe Flacco and seen Joe Flacco make all of those atrocious interceptions? How do we know that Gabriel would have looked good week 1? I feel like that's the mistake so many of us make
And that's a fair assessment. I don't disagree with that at all. That's a very fair assessment. But again, it's like the flip side is we got 2 guys. So we don't have to be patient. We have the luxury to, let's say he is ready and we did sit, let's say we did technically sit our starting QB because it would be Shedeur. He didn't start week 1 because Gabriel started week 1. Or even vice versa. So you kind of get to the point a little sooner, because one of the rookies are sitting, you know what I mean? We're gonna go ahead and check out the arena's thoughts on this here.
How many games will Dylan Gabriel?
That's an interesting question to start off with.
How many games will Dylan Gabriel last?
It depends on how he plays, obviously. And I thought he played decent in the other day against the Vikings. I really did. And I know I watched the show, and I know you guys were back and forth. He did. To be a rookie, to go overseas, to play in that environment, to make your first start.
Have you ever played abroad?
I never played, but I was a backup
I'm saying,
when we went
but
abroad.
you did.
Yes,
it's
that
a lot. Ain't
schedule
it? It's
is
hell,
tough.
man. I'm telling you.
And on top of that,
you're
you're
how
playing,
long you been playing? That's a
playing
hellacious
a
schedule.
Brian Flores defense, and that's no easy task. So I thought he played. I wouldn't say great. I don't think he solidified himself as a
not at
starter.
all.
Didn't do anything to separate himself, but he played decent enough to earn himself another start. And they did exactly what I thought they were going to do when we went over the game plan last week. A lot of short, quick game, get the ball out of his hands. Let's roll the pocket. His first touchdown was rolling to the left. Let's get him out to the left. He's a better athlete than people give him credit for. A lot of easy concepts. There weren't a ton of, work left to right, go full field, kick back, reset, making checks.
I think he played better than Flacco would have. I think that's is what it is. I think he looked pretty solid. I think he looked good.
The line,
I
a lot of
agree
protected
with that.
runs, especially down in the red zone, meaning that there's two tight ends in, a fullback. Let's go some power runs so you don't have to re-identify, make different checks at the line of scrimmage if they bring pressure. They did a lot of that. One thing they do need to improve on, though, and that he needs to get better on, is pushing the football down the field. They have to open up the offense a little.
And that is a issue, and that's the issue with Flacco being there as well. And that wasn't even a Flacco thing. They play calling is not great when it comes to throwing the football, or at least it hasn't looked to be great. Flacco is dealing with receivers who are dropping the ball as well. But yeah. And it's like you don't want to, as a QB, you don't want to force anything just to take a deep shot, just because you want the big play. But I agree. I do think they could push the ball downfield more.
A bit more. They only average 5.5 yards per pass.
That's ridiculous.
And as a defense, if they start
But
doing
again,
that,
that's play
what do you do?
calling.
I'm sitting on routes.
Yep.
I'm sitting there as a deep. And the Vikings
going
started doing
nowhere.
that in the second half.
They're not going nowhere.
Especially on that third down.
Yeah.
On a lot of those third downs, they're sitting on routes. They're catching receivers. They're not worried about the go ball over the top. So they have to add that into the play. He also needs to be a little bit better with his accuracy. And he had some open guys on third down to extend drives to really put the game away. And he overthrew some, and then he threw one short to Judy. That was a one-hopper, and he had another open route. So you've got to work on that. That will come with time. But overall, I thought he played decent. I think the C grading,
I didn't see that, but
was right.
I do recall, like, even watching him in the preseason, he did miss some easy throws. He was efficient, but some of the throws he did miss were like, how'd you miss that? No pressure. Guys wide open, and you miss them. Like, no pressure. But like I said, I didn't watch in detail in this game to be able to assess that, but he's pointing that out, so that is interesting.
Right around where it should be.
We
But
had
with that being
we had
said,
a couple D's on the panel.
well, I think a C average was decent for his first start. But with that being said, going forward, now they play at Pittsburgh, then they play home against Miami, then they play at New England. After that, they have a bye. If they go 0-3 and 0-4 overall with Dylan Gabriel before they get to the bye, that's when I would make the change to give Shedeur Sanders a start. After that happens, because you can't
During the bye
justify. Even if, I'm sorry, what?
During the bye week, make the change?
Yes, because now you give Shedeur 2 weeks to prepare. He hasn't got a ton of reps with the ones. Probably hadn't got really any reps with the ones.
Hey, and you know what? If they go 0-4 with Shedeur after going 0-4 with Dylan Gabriel, head coach, you gotta go. It's either him or the OC. They're gonna have to pick one, because there is no way y'all just drafted 2 quarterbacks and neither one of them worked out. Or I'm not even gonna say worked out, but because they're rookies, you have to give them some grace. But you know what I mean? Like, you can't keep trying to scapegoat. You can't keep doing that. It's only gonna work for so many tries. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
At practice, so you have to have that 2 week window if you're going to give them an opportunity. Coming out of the bye, they play the Jets. who are struggling right now, that would be a good game for him to come in and play. But overall, if you're Kevin Stefanski, it is going to be tough to justify being 1-7 and Dillon Gabriel goes 0-4 and say, nope, we're sticking with him. But that's where my concern comes in a little bit, is because Stefanski or Gabriel is Stefanski's guy. And I don't know if he's going to be ready to give up on him after 4 games.
Agreed.
I don't know if he's going to say, all right, this experiment's over, let's throw Shedeur in there. I think if he's playing decent and played like he did against Minnesota, even if they are losing these games, I think he will give him the bye week to self-scout, to learn a little bit, and then go back against the Jets. I don't think it's the right decision, but I could see that happening with Stefanski because, quote-unquote, Gabriel is his guy. But the other thing against that is Gabriel's not a first-round pick. He's a third-round pick. Yeah, he was a third-round. Shedeur's a fifth-round. But if he was a first-round pick, then it's all right. Gabriel's our guy no matter what. Shedeur's not going to get a chance.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's a third-round pick, that tells me, or that gives me hope that maybe we will see Shedeur if they don't win these games. And look, I'm not rooting against Dillon. I hope he plays well. I hope he does some things well. He's a good kid. But if you go 0-4 in your first 4 starts, I think it's time to give Shedeur the start going into the bye.
I know Skip got a lot, so I'll be quick. I agree with everything you said.
Okay.
My only concern, or what I believe is, it's really kind of going to come down to, because when you have a quarterback in, decisions are being made, not always just off the best thing for the team.
No.
It's almost like if them calls are coming from up top and Stefanski and that seat is getting hot and then that crowd is getting loud, we could see Shedeur sooner than the bye week.
Okay.
The best thing for him would be after the bye week because I want it to be fair. Create something for him where now he has all of this time, because he's not going to leave and go. So he's going to be in that building because he's a football head. That's who he is.
Yeah.
So you give him time to put something together for him, and then now we can see he's behind the O-line, run game, what do you like, what don't you like, this and this. That's the best thing for him. However, if that seat get hot, we might see him sooner than them 4 games, depending on how Dillon is playing. My only thing is, it's a point you made, I think that everybody agreed is the number 2 quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't believe Shedeur should be the number 2 right now because a lot of people's like, well, Shedeur should be moved up to number 2. No. I think nothing changes just because Joe Flacco is there. Shedeur, if he goes, stay where he's at.
Okay.
When he goes in, go straight to number 1.
Yes.
Because if he goes to number 2, Skip, something happens and they pull him.
So he should be the number 2 quarterback, but he's saying he shouldn't be the quarterback in emergency situation. Kind of the same thing that Cody was saying last week. Yeah, pretty much the exact same thing Cody was saying. But if they only got 2 quarterbacks on the roster, like what you gonna do? You gonna just? I mean, he has to get in at that point, unless you're just like, especially if it's an injury. I mean, he has to get in. Do what it is.
Now Shedeur's coming into a game with no game plan.
But you're
For
acting
him.
like the Browns really want what's best for Shedeur. I think like Cam Newton's come on and said that.
And not only that though, I respect that take, but it's not like we haven't seen a quarterback play bad or get injured and another quarterback comes in and wins the game. You know, it's possible. It's not impossible. They got Zappy. Oh, they do got Zappy. Okay. So you can still do that. Okay, you can still execute that.
They're trying to sabotage Shedeur. You're setting this all up like he needs time. They want him
Well,
to progress.
I
I don't think Stefanski wants Shedeur to excel. It's going to make him look bad, right?
I ain't been on the sabotage bandwagon. I wasn't on it during the draft. I don't believe it's a sabotage. Now, I hate the way they're handling it. You're not protecting the kid. You're not protecting either one of them.
So you think
I don't
the
think
Browns
they're
want him
protecting
to
either
excel.
one of them. But I'm saying if you put him in, the best thing to do is the Cleveland Browns. 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the other 25 people here in the world watching agree. The Cleveland Browns don't handle stuff well. We're talking about what the best thing to do is.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he should not be the number 2 simply because it's still putting him in a bad spot if they do take out Dillon. He's going to have to come into a game and take over a game that's not, the plan ain't built for him. Him and Dillon are 2 different quarterbacks. You built the plan around the quarterback. So if Shedeur comes in, he should go from 3 straight to 1. Don't put him at 2 because a lot of people think, oh, he's the number 2, that means next up. He could be next up at 3. Put Bailey Zappi at 2.
Yeah.
So if something happens, let him go out there and get his head beat in. Don't let Shedeur get his head beat in.
But how is that fair to Bailey Zappi?
He's not the QB of the future.
Let him get his head kicked.
Yeah, let him get his head beat in. Listen, this.
Just to finish the game is what Gerald
Bailey
said.
Zappi was brought in.
Get us out of this one.
Bailey Zappi was
and then
brought
we'll
in
put
to
Shedeur in.
run the practice squad and all that. Shedeur was drafted.
Okay.
So we believe in what he can do. Maybe we drafted him way too late. I still believe 5th round is way too late for him to be drafted by anybody. But we drafted him. Bailey Zappi was just kind of brought in to,
If I'm dying, you know.
But Shedeur should go from 3 straight to 1. I believe it should be handled just like Cody said.
Yeah.
Let Dylan get these games out the way, give him the bye week, and then a week to plan, and now we can give him a fair shot. But if you put him at number...
Okay. For me, I feel like everybody on the same page, embracing it. And again, yeah, I'm not against that. I'm not against this situation. Even though he's hurt, you got to factor in Deshaun Watson as well. Browns got a complete mess going on. Deshaun out of there once his contract is over with. Whenever that hits, whether that's this year or next year, what they're determining right now is who's going to be our QB of the future. Is it going to be Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders? Deshaun is going to be moved on from once they figure that situation out. But all right, y'all, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Appreciate y'all for watching. Subscribe. Stay tuned. Stay blessed.